Okay, so Quincy, I see you come prepared with a piece of paper, so I got one too, man. I'm right with you.
Just to remind me where it was.
So, the first question on here says your career started off in the world of jazz, but your legacy spans all types of music.
Yeah, but
We
it
know
didn't
that.
start in jazz, though. We started with 13 years old with a street doo-wop group walking the streets of Bremerton with Joseph Poe, who used to be with the Wings Over Jordan,
Right.
when we were little. But we had to do everything, man. Strip music, everything. Pop music, strip music, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, breeze, everything.
Now we have that in common because when I was growing up, it was very much the same. Because we had to play, we played, proms, just what you're talking about, bar
Yeah.
mitzvahs,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
But what it did for me, and I'm wondering if this did that for you, what it did was learning to play other people's music. Like people talk about cover bands and they go, well, I don't want to be in a cover band. But what being in a cover band did for me and Terry, it taught us what hits sounded like, right? Because we could listen and we'd go, man, that's a hit record. And we'd learn to play it. And then it informed us how we made music.
You had to know all the hits.
Yeah.
Back then, right, there was one song, because Ray Charles got started me.
Yeah.
I was 14, he was 17.
Yeah.
He taught me how to read music in Braille, because he had just left Florida, and he had sight until he was like 7 years old, and he had chicken pox. He scratched it, went to a white hospital. They wouldn't take him. When he got to the black hospital, he was blind. And then later on, when he was in this blind home, he told the guitar player when he got $600, he wanted to get him as far away from Florida as he could. You can't get him further from Florida than Seattle.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah. That's far away.
Yeah.
Seattle's far away.
And I spent his whole life with him.
Right.
Yeah, right. He was an unbelievable human being. Chess player,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
So when now you talk about Seattle, and that's the early days for you growing up. But the people that you grew up with are people that have become well-known names, certainly in the jazz community, but certainly in the music community at large. Talk a little bit about that community back then and the people who you grew up with and your mentors and the people that were in that atmosphere early on.
Well, one of the first ones I met at the Palomar Theater, because I stayed there because that was the only way. We, in the information age now, though,
Yeah.
there was nothing information back then.
Yeah.
It was radio, man, with Amos and Andy.
Yeah.
Yowza boss, and all that kind of shit.
Yep.
And I came through all of that, That's how we lived, and I lost my mother at 7. So, we were street rats, man, and in the 30s in Chicago during the Depression, man. So, please.
Can I ask you a question? Because you look at this.
That's the truth,
Yeah.
because that is a university.
You
See
just,
dead bodies every day, Tommy guns and stogies and piles of money in back rooms.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. My daddy worked with a gang, He was
that right?
he built their homes. He was a carpenter. He built their gang, the Jones boys. We were doing a movie on them because I need the kids to see how it was back then.
It's interesting because you say, it just dawned on me because you mentioned the information age that we live in now, which made me think of something. The reason that I wanted to be a producer, because I was in a band called The Time, and they were pretty good, and I enjoyed them.
Maurice,
But,
man.
Yeah. So that was cool, but the thing for me was, growing up as a kid and getting albums, whenever I'd put an album on, I'd always look at the liner notes on the album, and I'd always look to see who wrote it and who produced it, right? And I realized that a lot of my favorite songs growing up, it always said Quincy Jones. It said a Quincy Jones production. But it's interesting now that we live in this information age, but the credits are missing everywhere. I don't know whether you had an opinion on that or not, about no credits. Like, I could find the credits. I knew
That's
who
the
did.
problem I had with Michael. I had a big problem with that. On This Is It,
Yeah,
So, because you know this better than anybody.
yeah,
If the cover's messed up, it's not appropriate. If the studio's not right, the wrong engineer, the wrong background singers, the wrong bands,
Yeah.
and everything else. It's all the producer's fault.
Yes.
If it's a hit, the artist did it all.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, man.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
can't help it, man. I did everything,
Yes. No, I totally agree with that. But what you talk about is great because not only I always tell people about this in the industry because the way we receive music now, basically, you just kind of hear it. It just kind of appears out of nowhere, and there's a perception that it doesn't take a million people to make that happen, but it does. From the engineers, like I know Bruce Wadine's name. I knew Ocean Way Studio. I knew Jerry Hay, Phil Ramone, Rod Temperton, right? You know what I'm saying? And those great names. And then later on in life, thanks to you, I had the honor of working with someone whose name I saw prominently on your albums, Patty Austin. And
4 years old. Since 4 years old. She's my goddaughter. And Dinah Washington introduced me to her when she was 4 years old. Because Dinah got me into the record business.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did 100 arrangements for James Moody. I was young, man. I was 20, 19. And in New York, scuffling in Hell's Kitchen. And like Frank Sinatra said, you make it there, you can make it anywhere, because that's a tough city. It has the same population as Los Angeles, but 1/10 the space.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Anyway, man, it's been a long road.
Yeah, you've lived literally many lifetimes for people. What gets you excited nowadays with music?
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Lil Nas X. I've been hanging with him the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I love Misty Copeland.
Yes.
I love Simone Biles.
Yes.
Don't even talk about it, man. They just Ariana.
Yeah.
Grande.
Do you?
Richard Bonner, all my people, man. I'm a junkie.
Yeah.
I'm a junkie. And I have never, ever in my life, ever gone in to make music for money.
Yeah.
I always done what I love, man, what moves me, and that moves other people too. And thank God, with Thriller, we just hit 110 million albums. So
Yeah.
you don't have to think about money, man, because
Right.
I hate it.
Yeah. No, it is
Think
about
about
the love.
man, and
Yeah.
feeling,
Right. So to me, a producer, at least in what I learned as a producer, was that the producer is the one, like you say, that basically doesn't get the credit if it hits. But I think a producer is the ultimate like assist person, right?
A what?
Assist, like in basketball, right? There's certain players.
Well, he's like
It's like you
it's like
assist.
a film director.
You make right.
Like
you
a film
make
director.
everybody look good.
And
Right.
and that's what Spielberg always said.
Yeah.
And I was lucky to have him as my first director on Color Purple. And he always said, Quincy, let it be everybody's movie.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different cultures and different things you have to know, man. Costumes and production design and casting. And it's a trip, and you got to know every one of them. And every day I was in Sprinkler Drain at Universal, going to the editors, and Hal Ashby was taking me to school. You got it's a science, it's left brain, man.
Yeah.
And you got to master the rules before you can break them.
Yeah.
You can't break them unless you know them,
I think in the measure of when we're talking about greatness, and the reason the assist aspect of what you just talked about to me is the thing, because if you think about your career, it's always been about making the people around you better and also known, right? Because a lot of the people that whether it was back in the day, the brothers of Johnson, like all of a sudden you introduce us to Louis Johnson and George Johnson, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, what incredible musicians they are. Patty Austin, who I mentioned earlier. But then you get in with people who were already established, like Michael Jackson, like Chaka Khan, and people like that. Or people who, like Ashford and Simpson, who then you bring in. Who's that? Ella, yeah. Sarah Vaughan. Well, no, obviously back in that day. Yeah, Billie Holiday.
But her 14.
Yeah. Yeah. But to me, that is your greatest gift, if I had to pick a greatest gift, it's that the way you've been able to elevate everybody that comes in contact with you. And I say that from a personal level because back when, in the Time days, like when I was in the Time, everybody said, yeah, you guys do really good, funky music, and that's what you do.
We used to jam with Prince's father, He was a bebop piano player.
Absolutely.
He's named after him, John Nelson.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I knew that. And Prince was obviously revered you, right? But the interesting...
He produced 3 records for us with Tevin Campbell.
Right. That's right. As a matter of fact, yes, there was a
Can
movie...
We Talk?
Yes. I remember that.
Oh, a minute.
Yeah, Tevin's amazing.
Yeah, 12 years old, we had a #1 hit with him.
Yep, that's right.
Tomorrow.
It's amazing.
He's a singing fool, man. He can sing.
I know.
Waxahachie, Texas.
He's amazing. He's amazing. But I was thinking that I was trying to think now who I was going to say. There was somebody I was going to mention to you. Oh, can I tell you, by the way, just in the soundtrack of life, because there's so many things we can go. Truly, the soundtracks that you've been involved with have been amazing. And I remember there's a show that I watch all the time now. It's in reruns, but I watch it all the time because of your theme. Ironside.
Yeah. That's the first synthesizer the world heard.
Wait. Say that into the microphone so people can hear that.
Yeah, it's the first time they heard a synthesizer.
It was the first time that I remember hearing That's the first time I remember hearing a synthesizer, particularly on a theme to a TV show. I was like, ooh, I got to watch this show. What's this about? And the music actually drew me into that show. That was amazing.
That's what it's supposed to do, It's because everything I think in film scoring, if you had to really pinpoint it, is about tension and resolution.
Yeah.
Conflict and resolution, Because if you go to see a movie, everything's wonderful all the way through. That's boring. And you see that little pretty girl walking down the hallway, dark hallway in Nightmare on Elm Street. You got to have what we used to call the old shit card there. Half step, because it's dissonance and consonance. That's what the Star Wars. Donkey, da 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 dee da. And all of the beautiful major stuff is at the end after the victory. You celebrate the victory.
Yes.
It's all major chords and everything else. But it is a serious science, though.
Yeah, if you take the music out of movies, it's a whole different.
No, listen, we used to experiment. Tom Scott, his father was the composer of Lassie. And he brought in a 2.5-minute black and white video sketch of Lassie crossing a vacant lot with weeds in it. And we had 30 composers all do a different score to it. Sinister, romantic, comedic, everything. Yeah. And every one of them works.
Right.
Music can make you feel whatever you want them to feel.
It's amazing.
You see in Cold Blood?
Yes, absolutely.
We had Ray Brown and Andy Simpkins playing the Killers, bass and that low cellos. Yeah. We had to send an engineer in to take all of the speakers down to 44 cycles because they cut off after 100 after they go optical,
Right.
And we had to send to 65 theaters and put it down to 44 cycles, or you wouldn't hear my score.
Right.
So
it's amazing.
Dolby saved all that. Dolby took us out of all that misery.
Yeah.
ILM.
Speaking of Dolby, technology has changed, obviously, over the years in amazing ways. Talk about maybe how that's affected the way you make records, the way you used to make records, and the way you make records now, and the creative process and all that.
Yeah, it's amazing because we did the first records that were digital.
Okay.
My friend invited me. I was in Tokyo. We started black music in Japan, in '62.
Okay.
TLC. They would just listen to the Carpenters and Percy Faith, And we turned it upside down.
Okay.
Man, it was unbelievable. And what was the first thing you just asked me? Because I keep jamming here.
No, we like the jam. And I was talking about the technology. That's how you got to talk about Japan. But just
Yeah,
the technology.
we had a guy named Paul Beaver.
Yeah.
Paul Beaver, he's the one that got Stevie on the touch-sensitive clavinet on Living in the City.
Yeah.
Paul Beaver did all that. He gave us the touch-sensitive Nova cards, all of that stuff.
Yep.
Man. Everything.
It's amazing. When
In the Rhodes piano, nobody had that before. We did the first ones with that, you know.
Right. When I was, by the way, the clavinet and the Fender Rhodes piano. Now we're off on the the instrument side of things. That was all I wanted when I was a kid because I saw Stevie. I don't even remember what show it was, but he had the Rhodes piano and then he had the clavinet sitting on top of it. It might have been Soul Train, and that was, to me, that was it. I just wanted that, and every day in my studio I have that set up, and it takes me right back there every time. I mean, it's like that's the best combination ever. And for a while, Stevie had gone away from the clavinet and the Rhodes. He was playing some other stuff.
Well,
and I was like, no, man, get the real stuff back. And the last time I saw him,
I helped talk him into using synthesizers.
Yeah.
Stevie worked with me on the next studio at Record Plant for about 7 years. You know? And the guys, they had a group called Toto then. It wasn't the same as David Page. You know, it was Bob McGulliff and another guy.
Yeah.
And that's when Stevie started to use the synthesizer. And he ended up doing 4 platinum and Grammy-winning albums on all of them.
Yeah.
Intervisions, everything, all the way to Salt the Key of Life, you know, unbelievable. Woo. But you know what, man, that goes all the way back to Beethoven and Brahms, man. That's why we got harpsichords and stuff. They were always trying to get to different sounds and colors from Fender Rhodes and synthesizers.
Yeah.
And we were the guinea pigs for that. They'd send them from the factories in Japan, and we would check them out and so forth. It was heavy.
I love
Robert Moog.
Yeah.
Leo Fender.
Yep.
Unbelievable. But without the Fender Rhodes, there'd be no rock and roll and no Motown.
Right.
But the electric rhythm section. Because the guitar started in 1939. Mm-hmm. But sax from Belgium was the 1860, I think. He created the saxophone.
Right.
The only classical person that used it was Ravel in Bolero. He had a soprano sax because he created all the saxophones. He had no idea that decades later or years later, he's going to run into Chu Berry and Coleman Hawkins and Coltrane and Charlie Parker and Cannonball.
Yeah.
It's amazing history, man. Amazing history.
It's interesting, too, because when you put the technology in the hands of creative people, it changes what it is. And they use it in ways that the people that invented it don't even intend it to be used. And that's the magic of it to me. In creative hands, it's an amazing thing. I love the idea of technology and art coming together. I think for a long time there was this sense where the technology was being created.
What's the thing with the tone? That terrible thing to do with the voices. What's that one? Huh?
Auto-tune.
Auto-tune.
Auto-tune. Yeah. No? Not with it?
Sing it. Sing it. Give me Layla Hathaway.
You know, it's funny. I was back, Leon Silvers III. Okay. Oh, is he here? No? Oh, okay. But Leon Silvers III was one of the first people to put us in the studio and let us just have our way in the studio. And we thought we were doing a really great job producing. We were calling ourselves producers. And Leon would always say to us, "You're not a producer until you actually can do the vocals." Because we couldn't get the vocals right. And he went in and took the vocals we had recorded and made everything sound amazing.
I hear you.
And that's what he said. And so in my mind, that was always the thing. He said, you're just rhythm arrangers or you're just beat makers, but you're not producers until you can do the vocals. So I've always kind of subscribed to that.
Well, you know, it's like the whole attitude towards songs. The singer is a messenger.
Yes.
The song is what it's all about.
Yep. Yep.
That's
I
it
agree.
right there, the songs.
I always say, when I talk about songs, the thing I think is I always say that music is the divine art. Because we always talk about the idea of time travel, how there's no such thing as time travel. But when you play a song, if I listen to, on the way down here, I'm listening to you, and I heard If I Ever Lose This Heaven, right? I was listening to that. Minnie Riperton took me right back to that year. I remembered everything about it. I remembered the kind of car my parents were driving. I remember the school I was going to. I remember the girl I was seeing at that point. Everything.
That's what music does to you, though.
It's time travel.
You know, and what's amazing, man, is the reality that they say the best state of mind for a creative person is the ability to balance making it happen with letting it happen.
Yes.
That's the jazz philosophy.
Yeah,
you know.
that's a great one, too.
And that's, see, when you say let it happen, you turn it over to a higher power.
Yes.
You did some heavy stuff, man, you know.
Yeah.
And in creativity, you gotta be real with creativity.
Yeah.
Ain't no BS, man, and no room for it, you know.
Right. I always think that because I know it's...
You can't break the rules until you master them.
Yeah.
That brain.
Yeah. That is true. I love that. I should be keeping notes here because this is way too good a philosophy here. Yeah, because I think that as a creative person, a lot of times when people will hear a song that we've done and they'll go, "Oh man, what were you thinking about when you did that song?" And I'm like, I have no clue. Because those chords I don't even know those chords that I'm playing right now. I couldn't play them right now.
But you know what? That if there's anything better than a great song, that's a perfect song, it's a song where the backgrounds are just as seductive as the vocal line.
Yes.
Bloom, doom, 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 ding, 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 doodle-doodle-doo. Please,
Yeah.
man.
Yep.
You remember that? Just a doodle,
Yes.
doodle. Woo. But the
Ken-
Beatles songs weren't rock and roll, man.
Right.
Not at all.
Speaking of seductive songs, the one that comes to mind with you, of many, Secret Garden.
You know what that was about? Really, a friend of mine, Walter Isaacson, who was the editor of Time Magazine when I had a joint venture with Time Warner. And his wife wrote a book called Secret Garden.
Okay.
And what it did is it told you what women need from men. And I picked 4. It was like about 9 things, and I picked 4. One was honesty, the first one, because I originally wrote it for Stevie, Michael Jackson, and Lionel,
Yep.
and Barry White, you know.
Yep.
But I did it with L.B. Shore, and James, and L.B.
Elder
DeBarge,
Barge, yeah.
Anyway, the first one is about honesty.
Yeah.
The second one's about creativity. I'll write a song for you.
Yep.
A sexual animal, I'll lay next to you.
Yes.
A father figure, I will take care of you.
Yes.
And that's what women have to, that's what they need, you know.
Yeah.
I got 6 daughters, man. I'm not guessing.
Yeah.
Have any hair? Chinese? Ni hao. Ni hao ma. What a pialian babe. Okay?
What he said, yeah. I love it. Quincy, this is going to be a very cliche question. Is there a song of yours that is your favorite for whatever reason, whether it was the experience of making it, the success of it, or what? It doesn't really matter why, but is there a certain song that if I said Quincy Jones...
Every song.
Every one?
Every song.
Okay.
That's what I focus on, the song.
Even
Song that fits that artist. I was carrying around a song that Tommy Baylor wrote when his wife left him, and his heart was broken, man, destroyed.
Yeah.
And it was called She's Out of My Life. I was saving it for Sinatra. And then I realized, I went to the Oscars one year, and I saw a little 12-year-old dude come out there and sing a song called Ben. About a rat.
Right.
But Michael had never sang about a woman before. So
Right.
I said, we're going to sing about a woman now.
Yeah.
You know, she's out of my life. Give me my knife.
I love it.
Anyway, and he used to cry every time we sang it, you know, and I
Right.
left it on the record. I left the tears on the record.
Yeah.
But that's real,
Yeah.
you know, and I love the real stuff, man.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yes. It's the best. And particularly when that comes through. But once again, part of your genius is knowing when to leave those kinds of things on, because what a lot of people would go, well, we can't use that take because you started crying, and you said, no, we're going to use that because that's
Paralysis
honest.
from analysis.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I can tell you that working with Michael was the most jaw-dropping experience we ever had, because when we did Scream with him and Janet together, when we did Scream, the song Scream with him and Janet together, Janet was supposed to sing her vocal after Michael, right, in the studio. And Michael walked in very calm and very quiet. And when the track came on, he started dancing around and jingling and all the things in the studio you're not supposed to do. Not supposed to have jewelry, not supposed to have, hard shoes, right? And he sings from start to finish. And Terry and I were sitting there going, wow. And so when it finished, he got calm and he just said, how was that? And Terry and I are looking at each other going, yeah, Mike, that was really good. And he said, let me try it again. And we said, yeah, do it again, Mike. And Janet leans over and she's in my ear and she just goes, and we're in New York at this point, and she goes, I'll do my vocal in Minneapolis. She wanted no part of following that, and I don't blame her. I mean, that was so crazy. So, what are you excited that you're working on now? Because your past is so incredible that
What are we
we
working
can
on
talk
now?
about it forever. What are you working on now that's exciting you? Because I know the thing I like about you, or one of the things, I love everything about you actually, but the thing I really like is that you're always looking forward. As much greatness as is behind you, you're always looking for what's the next thing. So what's exciting you right now that you're involved?
VR and AR.
Okay.
I am into that, man. And we're going to make it work, too, somehow. And guess who is the founder of VR?
I don't know.
My cousin,
Really?
Jaron Lanier.
Okay.
I got to Google it. Yeah. He's
Really?
got long dreads on, man.
Uh-huh.
Never bathes. It's a smart cookie, though. Yeah, he did.
Now, I know you're also involved. I should say, I know there's a young lady that used to kind of mentor under us, Shalea.
Shalea, she's an unbelievable man. Unbelievable.
Shalea's amazing,
That
right?
girl can sing.
Yeah. And Shalea, I know you've done amongst.
I adore her.
Well, we're talking.
her soul is pure, man. She's
Yes.
pure. And she's real. She's humble with her creativity. And she's got class with her success,
Yes, she does. And she's an amazing singer, but she's also an amazing musician.
That girl can sing,
Which
man.
is what I love.
Yeah.
She's an amazing musician.
We just did a big tour in London
I was
and
just
Paris.
gonna- I was gonna mention that.
With the London Philharmonic. Unbelievable. We got another, that dude up here tonight coming up. It's going to blow you away, too. He's from Cameroon. That's where my people are from.
Is that right?
Where's Richard? Yeah.
Okay.
Cameroon, Huguenot, French,
Yep.
Cherokee Indian, and Welsh.
Wow.
Jones is Welsh.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. So, I'm looking at the audience here. It's such a diverse audience. And that's so cool because to me, it's what music brings together. Hey, girl.
Titi. My daughter over there, Tina.
How are you? Good to see you. Love you. We have such a diverse audience here. And just your thought, it's young, old, it's black, white, it's all nationalities. That's what music does. That's the beauty of what music does. How does it feel to be a part of advancing that? And when you say Quincy Jones and you realize that this is the audience that comes out, and it's across from different countries, from different lands, from everywhere. How does that make you feel?
You know what's amazing? I've been traveling on the road for 70 years. I speak 26 languages. I write 7 of them, Arabic and Mandarin. And man, it is an amazing feeling. And I stopped alcohol 3 years ago. So I'm clear now. I feel 35 years old. I'm ready to roll. Know what I'm saying? L to the yeah. That's what life is about, being vertical.
Yeah, man.
And Sinatra used to tell us, live every day like it's your last, and one day you'll be right.
Well, I don't, man.
I didn't have a chance, man. I was under the direction of Ray Charles and Frank Sinatra. I didn't have a chance.
Yeah, right.
7 double Jack Daniels an hour.
I can't end this today without mentioning one name to you that means the world to me, and I know he means the world to you. And people now may know him better as the Black Godfather, but Clarence Avant.
Clarence Avant, my best friend, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, that's my brother.
For those of
We've
you,
been friends a long time, man. Oh, good God.
how did you and Clarence meet? Like how long ago?
In New York in the late 50s.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was starting a union for the black DJs back then.
Yes.
He's always been a game changer.
Yep.
Always, man.
By the way,
Always puts ice in my wine, too.
right.
But I put my 61 Chateau Petrus, man. This sucker putting ice in it.
By the way, I'll mention that to say that I know, once again, I know everybody has a Netflix out there. So when you go to Netflix, if you haven't seen it yet, there's 2 things that you have to see. There's more than 2, but there's 2 that come to mind. One is what we just talked about, the Black Godfather, which is Clarence Avant. You have to see that movie. The other one is Quincy. That documentary.
My daughter did that.
It's absolutely amazing. And by the way, I went back the other day and watched Listen Up.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. It's an amazing documentary, and that's why when people say talk about the many lives of Quincy Jones, but it's amazing to watch that. So if you want to make your life better this weekend, I know there's football games and some other stuff that I'll be watching also, but if you want to, nothing better than Q right now. There's nothing better than Q. That's right. Nothing better than Q right now. Right? I think that's the way we all feel.
Where you from, man?
Philly.
Douglas Showboat, Pep's Lounge, Uptown.
Gamble and Huff?
Remember the Douglas Showboat? My band, we used to play on the Pep's Bar we used to play out there. With Dinah Washington. Yeah.
Sorry, there's a Philadelphia
Great
conversation
sandwiches.
going on up here that you guys aren't hearing. But
Great sandwiches.
I love Q. He goes right for the food. Great sandwiches, right? I love it. It's the best.
White Castle burgers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had those
They don't
in
make them
Minneapolis.
like that anymore. They used to be little, man. They were nice.
They still have them in Minneapolis.
Really?
When I go to
But they're
Minneapolis, they have them.
Though.
Huh?
Like computers, though. Made by computers.
Q, I don't know what to tell you. It's such an honor to have you here today. It's such an amazing, it's so amazing. Made my day, made my weekend. I mean, it's just beyond.
Right back at you, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a pleasure.
How's Morris Day?
Morris is good. You know, we're doing a Prince special next week.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to
I
tape
went
it
to
next
a
week.
party that Walter Mosley and his wife threw. That's the head of Morehouse. And they threw it, and it was unbelievable. Morris Day was pimping, man. Oh.
Morris is in great shape and great health. You know, Morris had a hip replacement about maybe 2 years ago, and he said it's changed his life.
I did it with my knee.
You know, Terry.
Titanium knees, yeah.
Yeah. Terry, my partner, did the same thing. Got the knee.
Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, right. Whatever works.
That's right. Whatever works.
Quit drinking for you, losing weight for me, whatever it takes, right? We got to be around, keep this music thing
Stay
going.
vertical.
That's right. That's right. We got
Keep on keeping on, man. I say YOLO Coco. YOLO, you only live once.
Yeah.
Keep on keeping on.
Yes, sir. YOLO Coco. I like
YOLO
that.
Coco.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave it at that. Please give it up for Quincy Jones.
God bless you. Bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you.